What's happening, beautiful people, and welcome back to another live stream right here on Cassius Morris Official. You know, I have to tell you guys, my spidey senses are tingling with this one. I just have a feeling this is going to be a crazy stream. We have a bombshell, which is popping off currently in the world of politics, in the world of Turning Point USA, in the whole Charlie Kirk universe, and this is something that I thought was dying down, but it looks like it's just heating up as we speak. Candace Owens has officially dropped a incredible call, which has just surfaced from Turning Point USA, featuring Charlie Kirk's widow, Erica Kirk, speaking about, well, I don't even know how to describe this, guys. I feel like we just have to play it. She's speaking about the numbers and metrics of the Charlie Kirk memorial. She's speaking about how much money they've made, but any explanation I try to give about this without playing it, I don't think is going to do it justice, because this call, the popular sentiment around this call and the reaction to this is that this call is downright bone-chilling. It is just a very disturbing, very odd phone call, which we are about to play. So if you guys are just joining live, make sure to smash that like button. Shout out to Lois. Shout out to everybody who's just joining in the chat right now. We're going to play this. We're going to go through the entire call that Candace put out. So just a little bit of context. This was, I believe, just 11 days after Charlie Kirk was actually murdered that this call took place. This was leaked to Candace Owens by a member of the Turning Point USA team. And by the sounds of it, Candace actually has a lot of people on the inside who are actually reporting to her from Turning Point USA. And I just got to throw it out there. This is some of my favorite work. When Candace is coming to us with facts, with sources, with evidence, this is when Candace really has my ear. This is the type of journalism I think she's really good at. And it's just a bombshell all around. So we're going to go ahead. We're not going to waste any time. Of course, we have other stories coming up tonight as well. There's lots to talk about. We got a stacked stream. So let's go ahead and play it right now. Shout out to Coop. Shout out to everybody. And this one's a doozy, guys. The leaked phone call from Turning Point USA and Erica Kirk. Let's listen in.
I think a lot of this, when you hear this call that I'm about to play for you, I'm not trying to color your opinion, but I am going to give you mine because it's my podcast. I'm allowed to do it. I do want to remind you that Charlie has not been dead for 2 weeks. That's where you have to go back to. Not even 2 weeks after Charlie was publicly assassinated. Not a normal, he didn't, we had to watch this. We had to visually watch this. Now, the entirety of this call, which we're not going to play, is 15 minutes long. I'm going to figure out how to just drop it on my X feed. But I want to make sure that we properly and fairly contextualize it. So we're
going to go find it, by the way. If there's more that's not played here, we're going to go get the rest, guys.
Not being choosy. We're not cutting this for drama. The obvious point of this call to set this up is to introduce Erica. She's a new leader. Not even introducing, she's just heading up this call, but obviously she's going to be at the helm of this, so they're getting to know her. And she does begin the call by being thankful to the entire Turning Point USA team for their work at the memorial event. So let's take a listen.
Hi, everybody. I still love all these emoji Zoom things. Wow. I don't even know where to begin. The fact that we were able to pull off an event of a century, like, it's just insane. We had over 275,000 people.
Calling your husband's memorial the event of the century is crazy. We're 2 seconds into the call, and we're hearing laughing and celebration, but even just that statement. I mean, I feel like a lot of people are going hard on Erica Kirk, and we're going to play this out. We're going to let it play. I just had to throw that in there, though. Calling your husband's memorial after he was shot in the neck the event of the century, kind of odd. Strikes me as a bit odd.
That attended, and stadium, overflow, Westgate, insane, you guys. And then you have, was it 100 million? You guys that heard the gospel and all about Charlie and all about everything that you guys do and the hard work of Turning Point USA is insane. We had thousands that were registered to vote. I think we're at like over 200,000 for merch sales. Don't quote me on that because I think it just keeps like bumping up like crazy. But I just wanted to say a huge thank you to the events team, the development team, the graphic design team, the production team. It's just phenomenal. Their incredible work leading into the memorial. And honestly, a lot of the staff that worked on the memorial, they had 20-hour days for a week during the time of us grieving the loss of my husband. And honestly, I know several staff that didn't even sleep. Again, you guys are breathing angels, and I'm so grateful for all of you. And
see, so far, doesn't it sound like she's doing like a Grammy acceptance speech, guys? Like, let me know if it's just me. But she sounds downright jubilant speaking about this. She's talking about, first of all, the merch sales, which is crazy. I mean, yes, you're going to sell merch. Look, obviously, I think the one detail that we have to hang on to here is that Turning Point USA was a lot bigger than just Charlie Kirk. So there was a lot of people who fed their families through this organization. I think anybody who's trying to frame it like they should have shut down when Charlie died is ridiculous. I mean, this was a big organization with many different chapters, many employees, many people who relied on them. So to me, it makes sense why they would, stream the memorial, why they would sell the merch. That's all within the realm of what's reasonable here after the guy dies, because they got to keep it going somehow. They're not just going to lay off all their staff and kill his vision. This is also part of what he wanted, was this to continue. But for the first thing that you say when addressing the team less than 2 weeks after your husband is shot is that you guys sold a bunch of merch at the event of the century, that to me doesn't sound like somebody who's grieving. That sounds like somebody who's doing an Oscar speech. This is something I would hear at the Golden Globes, not something I would hear from a grieving widow. It's very odd.
And obviously a huge thank you to the Mosaic team. VI, you guys are 10 out of 10. Like we have the most incredible team. We just do. And you guys know that, and you guys are all a part of that. And I am so thankful. And if you do have a moment and you run into any of those staff members that you know had a role in this, and that they put a lot of their time and effort into it, just say thank you. There's something really special to be seen in moments like this, and it's not easy. I'm speaking from experience. I'm right in the
Well, it sounds like it's pretty easy, Erica. From the sounds of it, it sounds like it's pretty easy, and that's kind of what irks me so far about the call. I'm trying not to jump in, but I have to, because you can hear the smile in her voice. That's kind of creepy to me. I think when somebody, and again, I'm not a behavioral expert, I'm not a psychologist, but I feel like people in the world have a pretty good sense of what feels right and what feels off. When I'm hearing a woman talking about this and I'm not even able to see her, but you can hear the smile in her voice, if somebody was just crying or somebody was upset, you can generally kind of hear a tone of them being sad. Generally. Again, this isn't about being an expert. This is just about gut feeling. This is more, actually, I would say common sense is probably a better way to phrase it. You can kind of hear where somebody's coming from, especially if they're supposed to be deeply depressed. But on the other hand, too, when somebody's jubilant, when somebody's okay, generally, when somebody's smiling, you can kind of hear that. You can hear the smile in her voice. And this is 11 days after he was killed.
Trenches with you guys. And so the fact that you just, a simple thank you. I don't care if any of you have beef with each other from the past or have any issues with someone said something about this or that. Like, if you guys have any of that, please put it to rest. My husband's dead. Like, I'm not trying to be morbid, but he's dead. And
what?
It puts life.
I got to hear that again.
This or that. Like, if you guys have any of that, please put it to rest. My husband's dead. Like, I'm not trying to be morbid, but he's dead. And it puts life into perspective of how short life is and relationships, and God puts people in your life for a reason, and it teaches you a lesson.
That part is crazy. Look, I know it was 11 days ago, but guys, he's dead. Just get over it. My husband's dead. It's time for us to move on. I can't imagine saying that about somebody. And by the way, I haven't lost many people super close to me in my life or, really any, actually. Like, I haven't lost anybody immediate in my life, which is something that I'm very, very thankful for. But I have lost people in the past, people who weren't necessarily immediate family members, people that weren't, necessarily even talking to me and in my life every single day. But still, when I lost those people, it hit me hard. I cannot imagine even saying that about like a great aunt or a great uncle. Look, they're dead. Not trying to be morbid, but they're dead, bro. Just let it go. They're dead. I can't imagine saying that.
Teaches them a lesson. So if you are going through a time where...
We got to run that back for 2 seconds.
I'm right in the trenches with you guys. And so the fact that you just... A simple thank you. I don't care if any of you have beef with each other from the past or have any issues with someone said something about this or that. Like, if you guys have any of that, please put it to rest. My husband's dead. Like, I'm not trying to be morbid, but he's dead. And it puts life into perspective of how short life is and relationships, and God puts people in your life for a reason, and it teaches you a lesson, it teaches them a lesson. So if you are going through a time where, just lay it to rest, and we are moving forward, Turning Point USA 2.0 with Charlie in our hearts, and that's what he would want.
Okay, so I'm just looking at the chat here, and you guys are responding live in the way that I felt live listening to this. It is the general tone that is off-putting. It's the laughter that is off-putting. It's, again, we are not even 2 weeks after watching your husband be assassinated. We're talking about numbers and metrics that have been hit. And my husband's dead, not to be morbid. That is a sentence that and this was not my husband, and I had no sort of the type of relationship that she had with him, that I was able to utter. Least of all, I mean, that's moving pretty quickly to the acceptance phase.
Candace is dead on, man. Because even as a friend, I can't imagine saying that about my best friend. Like, bro, they're dead. Not to be morbid, but they're dead. Let's just move on. That's just not something I would say ever. Never.
Now, we know everybody grieves differently. In my imagination, I just thought she would be more upset. And I want to be clear, the overall mood of this call is extraordinarily upbeat. It's extraordinarily happy. But of course, as the CEO and chairman, she does have to address the elephant in the room, the morbid elephant in the room, if you will, because it's an obligation. You have a new CEO. The employees are working 20-hour days, but also their founder, Charlie, was publicly assassinated less than 2 weeks ago. You got to address that. And you're going to hear her address that by recapping to them that throughout these long working days, the employees were provided with ample resources while they were working. Take a listen.
What do you guys think so far in my chat, by the way? I mean, I'm seeing I lost immediate family like that. When you do, you can't speak about them without crying. Yeah, that sounds a lot more legitimate, Lois. She doesn't care. Did she really say that? Yeah, she really said that. We're playing it now. Cassius, you're a legend. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. No, let's just play a little more. I'm going to try to chill for a second till we can hear more, because we got to give the benefit of the doubt, at least to an extent here. We got to be fair.
I'm just grateful that while things were still in motion and moving around, that we had our leadership teams provide for you counselors, pastors. I heard there were therapy dogs. Slightly jealous that I didn't get to have any moment with a therapy dog.
What's so funny, though? Erica, why is this funny? And by the way, why does the staff at Turning Point USA need more therapy than his own widow? That's the confusing part to me. Yeah, you're right, Lo. We got to give her the benefit of the doubt, but it's just like, I would be rolling in my grave if my family talked about me like this after I died.
Breakfast. I was really adamant about making sure that we paid for your flights for your spouses to be there. That was something on my heart. You don't want to grieve alone. No one's supposed to grieve alone. It's not healthy. But I just think it's a beautiful honor that all of these benefits were made for the community to grieve and remember Charlie. And I really hope you took advantage of those in a healthy way when they were provided, because it's meant to be for everyone, for healing. Grief comes in waves. Some days are going to be tougher than others, but take it as it comes. And that's why you have your Turning Point family, and just lean on them and lean on other people in your life that will help you and pour into you and pray with you to get you through it. I say that, though, that if you do need more time to grieve, please continue to use Turning Point USA's network of counselors. We have pastors. I mean, there are so many resources for you. If you do need additional time off, please talk to your director.
But Erica, what about you? That's literally what I would be asking, and I don't know why nobody in the call is responding. I don't know if this was like a speaker stage on Zoom where like only one person could talk. This was a group call with all the staff of Turning Point USA. I guess you're not going to mouth off to your boss, your new boss, to be fair at that. But what about Erica taking time off? Your husband was just killed. You're telling people who barely even knew him that if they need to take time off work to grieve him, you will support them. What about you? It sounds to me like Erica didn't take a single day off since her husband was shot. And this is what we've come to find out as time has gone on. She was in the office working basically after a day or two of him being killed. Why is she not affected by this? Why is she speaking about this like it's in such a sort of, it's like a sanitized way, a surgical manner rather. It's so surgical the way she talks about it. She's like, basically, you guys have emotions. I get it. You guys are still grieving him. It's been 11 days, but he's dead already. Just get over it. But if you're not over it, just use some resources because we need to get back to making money. We have money to make. We have merch to sell. We need to throw more events with fireworks. By the way, I need a new soundtrack for my entrance. I need more pyro. Okay, Erica needed more pyro. She wanted more fireworks, more streamers when she walks out on stage. That's all she's worried about. Why are the interns at Turning Point USA needing therapy for her husband being killed and she sounds fine? That's the only question I wish could be answered. Why does she sound completely fine that her husband's been killed? I don't understand this.
About using paid time off for that. And again, it's not easy, but again, grief is hard. Otherwise, honestly, Turning Point USA and Turning Point Action, full steam ahead, you guys. Charlie would want us to get back to work, and that's what we're doing, and that's what we did.
Back to work is crazy. Get back to work? You can't make this up.
For that, and again, it's not easy, but again, grief is hard. Otherwise, honestly, Turning Point USA and Turning Point Action, full steam ahead, you guys. Charlie would want us to get back to work, and that's what we're doing, and that's what we did with the memorial, and I'm so honored and proud of each and every one of you because that's what we're going to do in his honor and in his name. We have so much to do, which is exciting. Charlie in heaven is like, God. You guys thought you had a busy schedule then, just you wait. And he's doing some awesome things with Jesus in heaven right now. But there's so much work to be done. I mean, since his assassination, we have 100,000 chapter requests. We have 300,000 new donors. That is a blessing in itself. Again, not normal, all God. I think we have 50,000 plus hat orders to fulfill. I mean, I'm saying these numbers.
What the fuck are we talking about right now? 50,000 orders on hats. I love how Candace is as confused as us, by the way.
Because it puts into perspective that we're not just sitting and thinking and looking at the wall being like, what do we do? Like that, there is so much to do. You have over 20,000 AmFest registrations.
Ugh.
There's a lot happening there, and none of it is what I would be expecting to happen there. So basically what the employees said to me was that They got onto this call and everyone's exhausted, everyone's in working. They pull off this massive memorial. And then there's kind of this approach where it's like, well, if you guys need paid time off, like Charlie's in heaven dancing, wanting you to work harder. He's just up there like, you better work, but you can use the paid time off that you have earned, by the way, if you need to grieve more. But imagine you're the employee, you're like, okay, well, this is his wife saying this. So am I weird? Would I be like, I would be pretty weird if I needed to take time off and his wife is saying she's full steam ahead. That's the mentality that they had. Like, how are we supposed, like, are we weird for wanting to grieve? Is that not the vibe? How can we take paid time off when Erica, his wife, is saying full steam ahead? It's very strange. It is even kind of using this idea of Charlie being in heaven, looking down, and the laughter. I don't know. I feel like the rest of you. I feel uncomfortable. And of course, now what we're going to listen to is her pivot to the future vision, because that's what the bulk of this is about. And it's going to consist of the notebooks that I keep telling you the public is never going to see. Apparently, what I gather from this is that Charlie presented to the staff a vision for 2025, but Erica is going to say that there was a vision beyond that, all the way to 2030. And there's a project 2030. And then she's going to kind of want to say that she's happy, but then catch herself realizing that that would be kind of weird to say that she's happy. Take a listen.
I feel like Candace so far is dead on with her reaction, by the way. And this is really what strikes me, to my chat. It's really striking when you see the way that people who knew Charlie reacted, people who worked with him for even a couple of years, people who knew him for less than a year. There was such a visceral reaction to this. And I'm talking crying. People were speechless. People were bawling on camera when talking about this guy and what he meant to them. And again, we have to put it into perspective. These are people who worked with him, who maybe didn't even know him that well, who definitely did not know him on the level of the mother of his children. They took this way harder than she ever has demonstrated that she's taking it. That to me is very suspicious. Now, people can try to white knight and come in and say, well, hey, man, everybody grieves differently and you don't know what it's like to be her. I don't know what it's like to be her, but I know what it's like to be a human being, guys. I know what it's like to love somebody. I know what it's like to have feelings. If I am married to someone and I have children with them, there is no chance in hell I am going to be speaking about them in this way. You think I'm going to give a damn how many hats are sold? First of all, Erica, you're a millionaire. Okay? You don't need the money. Why are we tracking the stats of the hats that we're selling? We don't need the money we're making off the hats. We don't really need the donors that bad either. You guys are rich. She's actually richer now than she even was before. Why are we tracking the analytics of what we're making 11 days after your husband is killed? Why is that even a topic of conversation? If my wife was killed, I wouldn't even know we were selling hats. I would probably be in bed, unable to move. I would probably be comatose with grief, paralyzed to the point where I could not get out of bed, probably for at least a month. At least. And you know who was reacting like that? You know who did have that reaction? Casual friends of Charlie Kirk. People who worked with him. People like Candace. Candace took time off of her podcast. She wasn't even married to him. She had to take time off of her show to get off the internet to go grieve Charlie. His employees had to go grieve Charlie. Erica Kirk is running around with fireworks like it's WWE. Selling hats. I don't know. And again, if anybody thinks I'm over-exaggerating, picture it for yourself. If you could go through that and not react, well, maybe you're a sociopath. I can't put myself in the shoes of a person not reacting like this. And to me, it really comes down to one thing. People say everybody grieves differently. Fair enough, but people grieve, period. She's not even grieving at all. She's not even grieving at all. She's laughing. The event of the century. I can't wrap my mind around this, guys. It's shocking. Shocking behavior.
The prophetic mind of my husband was that he always planned for the future. You guys are obviously aware of like Vision 2025, but Charlie was also working on Vision 2030 in the weeks leading up to September 10th. And he was working really closely with Justin. And that's why Justin had been appointed the role of COO, because he was literally, I remember phone calls when Charlie and I would take our night walks, and it would be 10 o'clock at night, and him and Justin would just be talking about the plans. I was aware of the plans. I have his journals that are aware of the plans. Like, there is no confusion of what's to come. And I want to give you guys that reassurance that it's full steam ahead. And the board and I are working with Justin and the executive leadership teams to make sure that all of those plans come into effect 2030 and beyond. But I, again, am so grateful for all of you. I'm so proud of all of you. You honor my husband so well. All of you do.
At least somebody does. At least somebody's going to honor the guy. Holy shit.
And it's weird.
Somebody said, wasn't she seen with the vice president? Yeah, we can look into that too. I think something weird was going on there. Not to mention Trump when he was grabbing on her. The whole thing is weird.
To say I'm excited, I really hesitate saying that. It's really hard for me to say that. It's a really weird thing to say. But I think it comes from a space of peace, knowing that God's using this, and we're humbly witnessing the gospel in real time.
What?
I don't know what to say. She doesn't want to say she's happy. I don't want to say I'm happy, but where it comes from, let me explain the happiness I feel. It comes from peace, because we're witnessing the gospel in real time. All of this makes my skin crawl. It genuinely makes my skin crawl. I'm going to go ahead and say that. You can go find your commentator who's going to tell you everybody grieves differently. Nope, that is less than 2 weeks after Charlie was publicly assassinated. That doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't feel right to, I would say, the majority of people, or that doesn't feel right. Knowing that they're joyous at dinners. And again, this is when people who did not know Charlie could not stop crying and were sending me emails, who've never met Charlie, who didn't even know what Turning Point USA was, because they watched his assassination, could not stop crying and pull themselves together. That is not the emotion that we're getting there. Like I said, the entire call is upbeat, and the portions where we are even speaking about grief, it feels like an obligation. Like, hey, you got the dogs, and what Charlie wants is for you to work now. And that is how the employees that I've spoken to who were on that call, that's how they felt. My assumption, by the way, why I'm addressing this now is because my assumption, watching everything that's gone on, my assumption was that she really was trying to figure things out. I assumed in the silence, right? She wasn't doing interviews then. I assumed she couldn't get out of bed. I assumed that she couldn't pick her head up. And I felt that people were being unfair in judging outfits and in judging, whether or not they liked how her hair was done. I said, okay, she's speaking at we expect her to speak at the memorial event. I felt the public was being unfair. Now that we're kind of getting more on the inside of the organization, the now fired employees are telling me, no, it was quite the opposite. She was in the office every day with Stacey Sheridan, running around with Stacey Sheridan, taking phone calls with Stacey Sheridan. That's like the head of the fundraising for Turning Point USA. So what I had imagined in my head was happening simply was not so. Something is not right. Mm-hmm. That's what I would like to say. That call.
She's right. Candace is right about everything so far.
The timing, the energy of that call does not feel right to me. This, I don't know. I don't know what's happening, but I think we are inching closer to figuring out what's going on. That's for sure. And we will have more for you in the coming weeks. It also led me to another stunning discovery. that we have made in large part thanks to internet sleuths.
So now Candace jumps into a different segment. I did skip to this part where she starts talking about Charlie going to a school for the brilliant and he was one of the X-Men. Look, Candace, you lose me when you start talking about stuff like that, to be honest. I don't know about X-Men school. I don't know about the fact that Charlie was tracked since he was a little kid because he was so brilliant. That's where you start to lose me. Maybe you have more evidence than I do. I don't know. Ultimately, I feel like everything she said about this, though, was really, really bang on. And it really is just odd. I don't mean to cast stones at a person who I don't know. I'm not here to cast stones at somebody who's supposed to be grieving. But if you're supposed to be grieving, then take the space to grieve. She's putting herself out there, talking about this being the event of the century. All of this shit is just, it's odd. And I even remember for me, in my chat, because look, I went live the night Charlie died and the day after he died when the killer was caught. Back-to-back streams. I believe we did 500,000. We did like 250,000 views. Like literally those were my biggest streams ever. My biggest streams ever when Charlie Kirk died. Yes. Yeah, we did about 350,000 views on those streams here. And the reaction from people in the chat, and we talked about the reaction of people who didn't know him, who knew him rather, who worked with him. The reaction of people in my chat who didn't even know him was overwhelming to me. That's when I realized what this dude meant to people, because people in my chat said they were crying all night. People were distraught. People were taking time off of work. And you may say it's extreme or whatever. You can cast judgments on that all you want. But this was the reaction that people had to this guy. He meant a lot to people. Whether you liked what he stood for or not, he meant a lot to people. These are people who never met the guy. Even me, when I saw that video, because the video is what did it for me. And if you haven't seen the video of the assassination, please don't look at it. That's one of the videos on the internet that I wish I could go back and erase from my mind. I wish I never saw that. I truly wish I would have never seen that video. That messed me up for a couple of days, dude. Not because I knew him, but just on a human level. A dude who's not that much older than me getting murdered like that in broad daylight, that affected me. I never met the man. I never even met anybody who had met the man. And I was distraught. The fact that you have children with this person and you can speak so flippantly about it, zero concern, just not even worried, talking about selling hats, very, very alarming. And, when people start talking about conspiracies behind his death and Erica might have been involved and this and that, the only reason to me that these theories have legs at all is because of this behavior. If there were consistent actions to go with what we're being told, if the reaction from these people was consistent with what it should be or what we've told it is, we're told she's distraught, we're told she's a grieving widow, but we don't see anything that's consistent with what we're being told there. That, to me, is the only reason why the conspiracy theories and the strange ideas about what happened to him or they took him out or whatever, that's the only reason this has legs. Because it's inconsistent. And if there's a different explanation for this, I think it might be time. Now, she doesn't owe it to anybody. I got to make that clear. Erica Kirk doesn't owe anything to anybody. But I would like to maybe understand it from her perspective. Like, what is the deal? Are you in shock? Can you not process the information? Does working through it maybe help you grieve? Like, give us a little bit of understanding as to what this reaction is, because a lot of people are turning their back on Erica Kirk and they don't believe in her. And look, I think it's very telling too. The other thing we have to mention, very telling, that Turning Point USA employees themselves actually were the whistleblowers to Candace for this. Now, it's one thing if, Candace had infiltrated the organization and she went and she got this footage and she got this audio and she leaked it. That's one thing. These are people within Charlie's organization, people who worked for Charlie, people who currently work for Erica Kirk, who are blowing the whistle and saying, hey, something's not right here. Something is not right here. That, to me, is the biggest thing to look at, because this isn't outside speculation. This isn't, I can say whatever. I'm not inside. The people who are on the inside are literally sending this to Candace, being whistleblowers, saying, hey, something's not right. That, to me, is the biggest red flag that's being waved right now. And again, all these theories, all these, Erica Kirk is in on it, whatever. I'm not saying that. But I can understand why people are saying it, because something's not passing the smell test here, guys. It's not adding up. So this, to me, is just very, very bizarre. It sounds like a woman who is more concerned about financial gain than she is about her own husband. We never hear her actually mention her children either. You know, she's saying that the employees at Turning Point USA need therapy dogs and they need pastors. What about your kids? You haven't mentioned your kids once in this entire situation. Are the kids okay? Like, we don't even know. There seems to be zero concern about her own kids from her. We haven't heard a damn thing. It's horrific. It's horrific what happened. I'm seeing in the chat, I think she's not processing yet. She's in shock. Yeah, and look, again, that's perfectly possible. It is. It's entirely possible that she could be in shock and she couldn't be, processing the information. But she's perfectly fine to go on stage with Nicki Minaj. She's perfectly fine to be out here fucking around with Trump and with Vance. She's fine to do all this stuff. It's just the smell test. It's not being passed. Something stinks. Something stinks. I don't know if you guys smell that, but something stinks. So let me know what you guys think in the chat. Do you think this is odd? I mean, there's been a lot of split reaction to this. If we go ahead and we'll look at Candace on X to see if we can look at some of the reaction too. She also said she was going to, oh boy. Nicki Minaj just went on stage with Trump. That'll be our next story. What is happening? Why is life a South Park episode, bro? This is so ridiculous. Okay, we're going to play this in 2 seconds, guys. Let's just go see if Candace put any more stuff, because she said she was going to put the full audio of Erica. I don't know if she put it out. It doesn't look like she did put it out, actually. Candace, you promised. She put up a tweet, though. She says, I'm still stuck on the fact that Turning Point raised $250 million over a few months and felt zero shame attacking YouTubers for making thousands of dollars discussing the flaws of the investigation. The shamelessness of that PR strategy is absolutely wild to reflect on. Can't disagree with that. Can't disagree with that. Biden and Cardi B, yeah, that was just as bad. Guys, I think any time that they do the move when they bring up a rapper is so cringe. It's just, first of all, you guys don't listen to rap, you politicians. Second of all, you're 80 years old, guys. Like, Joe Biden is 85 fucking years old. Trump is what, 81? Why are you with Nicki Minaj, dude? You don't know anything about it. Let's just go look at it now, honestly. But yeah, drop your thoughts about the whole Erica Kirk thing. Just to close the story, I firmly believe that sometimes you just need to trust your gut, and you might not have the answers, but you have an inherent feeling. That's where I stand on this story. Something ain't right, and I would love to get the opportunity to interview Erica. I would really, really like to interview her myself. I tried to interview Charlie while he was alive. I tried. I called Turning Point USA, multiple locations. Obviously he was popping. He was huge while he was alive, but I tried. Erica is a person I'd like to interview too and just give her the benefit of the doubt, because look, if she is insulated from the internet right now, if she's not looking at X and she's not looking at all this stuff, which I think she is though, because come on, she's not stupid, but maybe she's not aware that people think she's full of it. Maybe people think, maybe she feels like people actually are buying this. I'm not sure if she's privy to the reaction that's actually happening. It would be interesting if we could have a conversation and say, look, Erica, everybody thinks you're full of shit. Did you want to maybe clarify for the sake of your husband's legacy, for the sake of your kids, for the sake of your family? Because everybody thinks you're milking this for money. Nobody thinks you're actually upset. Maybe I feel like there's too many yes men around these people. They need a dude like me to come in and be like, yo, nobody's buying this. Do you have anything to say to that? Like, if there was a single good journalist who was asking them questions, they would ask her that exactly. Somebody needs to say that. Like, do you understand how this looks? Because maybe she doesn't. But again, she'd have to be pretty unintelligent to not realize how this looks. I'm never going to interview Erica Kirk. I've interviewed way bigger celebrities than Erica Kirk. Erica Kirk is a nobody compared to the celebrities I've interviewed, dude. And I don't really wish I could interview her, to be frank. It would be interesting for my audience. For me, I don't really care. Yeah, so let me know. Let me know what you guys think. Let's go to this Nicki Minaj thing. So Nicki Minaj, and by the way, this was one of the worst things, too, that I think happened with Erica Kirk. And I have to jump back to the last comment. Guys, we played the audio already. We have to jump back to this. So when we look at Erica Kirk, people talking about her being sincere, the one thing too that strikes me as insincere and that looks like a money grab is that the way she's continuing Charlie Kirk's legacy doesn't seem to be aligning with what he actually wanted. And the Nicki Minaj thing, when Nicki Minaj was brought out to Turning Point USA, that is when I figured, you know what? Maybe this is in the wrong hands. Charlie Kirk was very vocal about the fact that he did not like Nicki Minaj. He thought she was a terrible role model. He would have never wanted her at Turning Point USA. So I think it's in bad hands. Let's go ahead and look at the video of Trump with Nicki. This is so funny. Guys, we opened the show, the first 40 minutes with the audio. So if you guys want to go back to that, you can. And we're going to see if there's more audio or more assets to play for this story. Let's go ahead and play this. This is Trump 2 hours ago with Nicki.
You want to come up? You want to come up? Mr. Wonderful, come on up here. You've been terrific.
Oh, Kevin O'Leary's there too? Okay. So Kevin O'Leary's finally admitting he's Trump's buddy.
Come on up.
What the hell is she wearing, dude? She looks like a cotton swab. Holy shit.
Hello. Well, I don't know what to say, but I will say that I am probably the president's #1 fan.
Oh.
And that's not going to change. And the hate or what people have to say, it does not affect me at all. It actually motivates me to support him more. And it's going to motivate all of us to support him more. We're not going
Look at Trump licking his lips. He likes her. How much you guys want to bet they got something going on?
And it's going to motivate all of us to support him more. We're not going to let them get away with bullying him and, you know, the smear campaigns. It's not going to work, okay? He has a lot of force behind him, and God is protecting him. Amen?
No way, dude. He likes her more than he liked Erica Kirk.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's stay right here. On behalf
Whoa, dude. What a visual there.
of all
He actually touches her more than Melania. He's allowed to get closer to her than his own wife.
On behalf of all the entrepreneurs in America, I'd like to thank you, Mr. President, because we create 72% of the jobs. Companies 5 to 500 employees, and all we care about is policy. We love policy, pro-business policy, and these accounts are fantastic for independence and support. I thank you very much. It's all about the entrepreneur, and I think you know that, sir. Thank you very much.
Interesting. You know, I'm seeing in my chat, like, what does it say? Got to give her credit. She ain't scared. I actually kind of agree with that because, look, even I came on my stream and I said Nikki fucked up when she went to Turning Point USA. I still stand by that, by the way. I feel like the Turning Point USA appearance was really, really bad because Nikki didn't make any good points. It seemed like a grift. It seemed like she was really desperate for that right-wing approval. And not even just right-wing approval, but it just seemed like she was desperate for the approval of anybody who would listen. And I think it's pretty obvious. Nikki's career is pretty much in the toilet. She's completely irrelevant. You know, she's been spazzing out about all these other female rappers coming and taking her place and desperately trying to cling on to any relevance that she can get. Turning MAGA seems to have been a really good move for people who are trying to be relevant. It didn't seem to work for her. That being said, though, if this is really what she believes and it's not a grift, hats off to her. I got to give it to her because, look, if you're politically inclined, if you're an American, which is actually debatable, I think there was a big petition for her to be deported. I guess she's from Trinidad. That's a whole other story. But if you're an American citizen and you're convicted about politics, I think one of the most beautiful things about America and what makes it a great nation is that you're allowed to get up and support what you believe. So at first, when I thought it was a grift, it seemed forced. Like the Turning Point USA appearance, we can run some of it in a second. It seemed very forced to me. That's just my personal opinion. I didn't like it. But if she really supports Trump, I guess I'll give her hats off, not because I agree, but because she's standing up for what she believes in. My only thing, though, is what does she expect to gain from this, from her base? That's the only thing I'm confused about, because here's the thing. She gets a lot of support from Trump's base because she's supporting them, but especially because she's a black celebrity. Any black celebrity who supports Trump, his fans are going to support them, but MAGA people aren't listening to Nicki Minaj. The thing is, it's not transferable. People who actually support Trump, who are super, super conservative, they're not going to listen to Nicki Minaj's music about her getting her ass eaten, okay? Nicki Minaj is the exact opposite of a conservative. She's literally the antithesis of that. So it's not going to be transferable to her music career actually being better. She has vile lyrics, vile stage shows, vile music videos that no conservative would ever support. So yes, she's going to get a temporary buzz from those people. They're going to try to lift her up because it's a minority. She's supporting Trump. Trump might need the extra endorsements right now. A lot of people are turning on him. That being said, I'm very curious as to what Nicki expects she's going to gain in her actual career from this, especially after the moment is gone. Because when the moment is gone and Trump is out of the picture and all the dust settles, what does she think this leaves her with? Does this give her a better rap career? Does this give her a better, name in Hollywood? I don't think so. The only thing I can see is maybe she actually is trying to get her family member pardoned. And at the end of the day, that's a big thing. Look, she has a family member she's trying to get pardoned. She's got family members in a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble. That is why people think she's cozying up to Trump. So what do you guys think? Is it a good move? Is it a bad move? I mean, right now, with everything going on, to stand up and support Trump like this, I still say you're too late. I think during the election in 24, it was cool. It probably would have worked. She probably could have performed at some events, and it might have actually been good for her career in a sense. But especially with everything going on now with ICE, guys, it's a different political climate now. We are so politically charged in a different way that I don't know if this is going to be good for her. And one thing's for sure, if she decides to double down, the people who opposed it are going to triple down. I think we're going to see, and look, Nicki's lucky she's rich. She's lucky she's already had a good career, because this is when you get blackballed. People are going to try to blackball her. They're going to try to cast her out. But I do think it is strange, though, that she's supporting it now. Because honestly, guys, I think Trump was doing a lot better before this point. I've said it on every stream. I used to like Trump more than I do now. I think there's a lot of good things about him, but I feel like it's starting to get outweighed. When I look at what's happening with ICE, I went down the rabbit hole last night. I actually went on the Minneapolis Reddit last night to see what was happening in Minneapolis. And when I go on there, and I look at some of these pictures and videos, I can't imagine supporting that. And I don't want illegals in the country who are criminals. I don't want drug kingpins and drug lords, but the people that are being attacked are not those people in most cases. There is better ways to go about stopping drug kingpins and drug lords from coming into the country than what they're doing right now with ICE. And this is just my opinion. I'm not here to change anybody's mind. I don't support the way ICE is going. I think it's scary. It's dystopian. It's like the Gestapo, whether you like it or not. That's what it is. These are the facts. So when I see things playing out like this, where is Nikki on this issue? I mean, she's an immigrant herself. What is the deal here? Why are we supporting it now? I mean, even some of Trump's most vocal supporters are turning their backs on him. It was so actually fascinating, Minneapolis Reddit, to look on there because, like, we're seeing people who are basically ready to die right now for their city. Like, people are ready to die. People are in the streets with guns. People are ready to fucking fight for their country, for their city, for their pride. Maybe read the room a little bit. I mean, what do you guys think? Like, is this the right time or the wrong time? Let me see what you guys are saying. Tampon Tim. I don't support Tim Walz, please. Rumors are that she's almost bankrupt and that's why she's doing this. I completely agree. That's the thing. It's been a career revival for some people. I mean, Kid Rock, it was a huge career revival for him. Kid Rock was basically irrelevant until he aligned with Trump. All of a sudden, he's headlining shows. He's back. He's doing his thing. Do I support Trump? I don't support any politician, but I definitely don't support ICE. And again, I support closing the border. I support getting criminals out. But when you're beating and killing civilians who are not even, first of all, they're Americans, half the people getting beat. They're not even immigrants. So you're beating and killing your own citizens. You're running around in Nazi cosplay, dressed like the Gestapo. What are we doing? What are we getting at here with this? I don't understand this. It's messed up. You guys say it's not the Gestapo. Bro, it is the Gestapo, guys. Stop bullshitting. Seriously, like, it's enough. Like, I understand if you support Trump, but just stop bullshitting, though. What these people are doing, and here's what's rich to me. You know, all the people who are supposed to be super right-wing, they're the ones who always want to cry about the Constitution. Everything that's happening with ICE is directly violating your constitutional rights, and you're here supporting it. That's why I laugh at it. The Constitution is being eroded in front of our eyes. You guys have basically no rights left. You can't even peacefully protest without getting tear gassed or killed. And you're here telling me that this is good for the country. That's called brainwashing. Again, it's not about supporting illegals. It's not about supporting criminals. You guys are eroding your own rights, and you're supporting that. If this was Democrats doing this, you guys would be opposing it. That's the political sickness in America. People who support MAGA right now with this shit, eroding the constitutional rights of the United States, if this was another political party, you guys wouldn't support it. I guarantee it. Maybe you guys have already bought into Trump so much you can't turn back, or maybe you're in denial. We got to make one thing very clear. This is not good for the country. Very simple. It's not good for the country. When you can't even go out and peacefully protest, tell me how you still have rights. Tell me. How do you still have rights if you're going to be shot in the fucking head for trying to protest? Tell me. And you can cuss me out and call me names. Give me an explanation, though, in the chat. Okay, I'm brainwashed, I'm stupid, I'm whatever. I'll be whatever you want me to be. But counter my argument. Counter my argument. Nobody's countering my argument. You can call me names all day. That doesn't answer the question, though. Very simple. Let's see what's going on in Minneapolis. I can't imagine supporting this shit.
Protesters taunted Border Patrol Commander Greg Bovino outside his hotel as news broke that he has been booted out of Minneapolis by order of President Trump.
Like, even Trump's not happy with this guy.
Bovino, you got fired! They were trying to make his last night in Minneapolis a sleepless one. This is how one hotel guest, believed to be an ICE agent, responded. He mooned the crowd. Minneapolis police formed a cordon to force the protesters back.
All those assembled dispersed immediately.
Published reports say that Bovino has been demoted in order to return to his home base in California, and that's not all. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, aka Ice Barbie, is also reportedly on the outs with President.
Ice Barbie is diabolical, bro. Who called her Ice Barbie?
Barbie is also reportedly on the outs with President Trump, this after a 2-hour sit-down last night in the Oval Office. Trump is said to be unhappy that Noem said slain Alex Preddy was out to kill law enforcement, a depiction that doesn't match videos shot by bystanders.
Very, very unfortunate incident. I don't like that he had a gun. I don't like that he had 2 fully loaded magazines.
By the way, I thought America was pro-gun. See, this is the funny, you know what? This is the funniest thing that's happening. The right-wing people who are super pro-gun are now saying you can't have guns. I never thought that the left wing would actually be the people upholding that amendment. All of a sudden, you can't have guns now. Isn't that something? I thought the right wing were the people who wanted us to all have guns. Fucking priceless.
That's a lot of bad stuff. And despite that, I say that's a very unfortunate.
But even staunch supporters like Senator Ted Cruz are expressing concern.
Immediately when an incident like this happens, they come.
Yeah, you're not allowed to have guns in the United States, apparently now, according to the right wing.
Immediately when an incident like this happens, they come out guns blazing, that we took out a violent terrorist. Hooray.
The First Lady stepped into the fray today in an interview on Fox and Friends.
I'm against the violence, so if we protest.
Somebody tell this bitch to shut up, by the way. Melania, go spend Trump's money. Nobody wants to hear from you, dude. Nobody wants to hear from a woman who came from fucking Slovenia. I don't know where the hell this woman comes from. She sits on her ass all day, spending money at the Gucci store. You live in a golden tower, lady. Nobody needs to hear from you.
Protest in peace. And we need to unify in these times.
But Megyn Kelly says Preddy, a VA hospital nurse, also made mistakes.
My mom spent her life as a VA nurse. Never in her wildest dreams would she consider going out there to impede law enforcement.
Sarah Meisner is the daughter of one of Alex Preddy's ICU patients. She is speaking out on his behalf.
He was a wonderful person. He was there to help. And that I can't imagine him being a person who would want to harm anyone.
Stephen Colbert had this take.
This administration has no idea the mistake they just made. They're messing with nurses now.
And the shooting had Jimmy Kimmel.
I don't want to listen to these idiots because these guys are just as dumb as Melania, these stupid comedians who think they're activists. Fuck Jimmy Kimmel and fuck Colbert, by the way. They're literal idiots. Here's the thing. It's really, really telling to see who is still supporting this shit. I cannot believe the bootlickers. Hey, man, just stay away from the cops. Hey, man, it doesn't matter if they're violating the law. Just stay out of their way. You guys are licking the boot that is going to come down on your necks, my friends. Okay? This is the scariest part about it. The same boot that you lick is the same boot that's going to stomp on your skull. Very, very soon. We see people losing their right to the First and Second Amendment before our eyes. Losing the right to peacefully protest. Losing the right to basically do anything except for sit in their homes and cower from the government. And the only response from the people who support it is, hey, man, just stay out of the way. Just following orders. Sounds awfully familiar, doesn't it? You know, I think we've heard this rationale before. It doesn't matter what's happening. It doesn't matter if it's legal, illegal, just or unjust. Just stay out of the way, man. They're just following orders. Do you guys think you're going to have a constitution left after this? What do you think happens to a country after this is allowed? You know, last time I checked, this type of thing happened in authoritarian regimes, not free countries. Last time I checked, this type of thing happened in other nations. We're talking about Venezuela and Cuba being dictatorships. Look at the country you live in. Look at the country that you live in. You want to tell the other people in other countries about dictatorships? Look at your country. Insanity, dude. It's so crazy to see people support this shit. And to me, it's disgusting, and it's a hard line. Look, not only is Trump super hard base, and I've already said, 2016, I was like, Trump, let's go, bro. I was supporting Trump all the fucking way in 2016. But if you are still supporting this shit, there's something wrong with you, dude. Not only is he protecting pedophiles, not only is he in the Epstein files, not only is he taking away your constitutional rights, people still think it's cool. That is what is shocking to me. How can you sit here and watch your country go down the toilet? It's like you're sitting in a burning building and telling me it's not that hot. It's absolutely insane to see the people who are still supporting this. You guys need to wake the fuck up, dude. You're losing your rights. Everybody in every other country in the world is laughing at you. I don't know if Americans realize we are laughing at you. We're laughing at you. You're a laughing stock. Look at what's happening to your country, and you don't even care. You don't even care. It's fucking insane, dude. And this is coming from a guy who liked Trump. Do you guys know how many opportunities I lost for supporting Trump? You guys know how many family get-togethers I was cast out from for supporting Trump? Do you guys know how many higher-ups tried to have conversations with me for supporting Trump? The thing is, you need to adapt your position based on new information. Things can be one way in one moment and something else in the next. And a person with integrity is able to call that out. Somebody who lacks integrity will just sit there and say, hey man, MAGA, Trump 2028. Brainwashed. It's a political sickness. Political sickness. And honestly, dude, if you guys want to be ruled by a dictator, I'm about to just let you do it. I don't have to live there. Look, I don't have to go to America. I don't got to deal with you guys. So if you guys want to run your country into the ground, do it, dude. Honestly, who cares? Who gives a fuck, bro? The people who support this deserve it. That's really what it is, dude. Nobody wants to come to your country to go to the Olympics. Nobody wants to go to your country to go to the World Cup, any event that could happen in the future. Nobody wants to go.
This is the front line of Donald Trump's immigration crackdown. In the north of Minneapolis, an ICE operation is underway. The officers are heavily
free country, by the way,
armed and confronted by angry protesters.
You guys suck so bad. You're gonna be in so much prison.
This is a heavily Latino community, and many here are terrified.
Stay away from the vehicle. Stay away from the vehicle. Come on.
Car alarms have been set off to warn of the raid. Some are whistling to alert other residents.
You guys know what's going to happen, by the way, and this is crazy to me because I was very much towards the right wing. I'm not a fool, so I don't endorse politicians. I know none of them care about me, okay? None of them care about me or you. That's the first thing. So I don't sit there and endorse politicians because it's just foolish, really. None of them give a shit about us, about the everyday people. But I never in my life thought that I would be siding more with the people on the left. Trust me, never in my life did I ever think this would happen. But you know what's going to happen if you guys keep this up? The 2028 election is going to be a blue landslide if you guys keep this up. You know, the same way that wokeism destroyed the left, the woke ideology, the trans obsession, the identity politics, all the bullshit that nobody cares about, tactics that were not working. See, what happened to the left and why it ended up eating itself and why they lost in a landslide to Trump was that they kept doing tactics that weren't working and they kept insisting that they were working. What we're seeing now is the right wing doing the exact same thing. Tactics are being used. The world is telling you, we do not like this. We do not want this. And you're not listening. What happens when you do that and you keep going down that path? Well, you're going to lose the next election. It's really that simple. It's going to be a blue landslide. What's happening right now, see, people might think they're retaining control who are on this side. What you're actually doing is creating Democrats. You're creating people on the other side that never would have even pivoted if you weren't doing this. The same way that wokeism killed the left, this dictatorship shit is going to kill the right. Mark my fucking words. January 29th, 3 in the morning, because I'm fucking grinding my ass off. 3 in the morning talking my shit on here. Mark it down, timestamp this. What is happening in America with ICE is going to create more people on the left wing than we have ever seen before. And it's creating a new breed because this new breed, I guess, is not as soft. They're not scared to carry guns. They're not scared to defend themselves. I kind of like this new left wing because they're not a bunch of pussies and they're not bootlickers. You know, maybe the left ain't so bad if they ain't woke. I hate all that woke shit. Don't get me wrong. I hate all that woke shit. I hate the woke shit. Maybe they're not so bad if they're not woke because this isn't going to fly. You think that this is actually going to fly? People don't want this happening, dude. You can get mad at me all you want. It doesn't change the facts. It doesn't change that what I'm saying is true. You know it's true. When you keep using tactics that don't work, your side is going to lose because of their own stubbornness. I guarantee you, every day that you do this, you are pushing people to the other side. And I'm on no side. You know what party I endorse? The Cassius Morris party, bitches, because that's the party that pays my bills. The only person who's looking out for me is me. That's who I support. So I don't have a dog in this fight. I'm simply an observer. But what I am observing is the snake eating its own tail and killing itself. It's very simple. We can't keep going down this road if we expect support. Trump is going to need to make some serious changes now if he wants to retain anybody except for his super fringe base, because people are dropping off. Prominent Republicans are dropping off. Prominent figures in entertainment and media are dropping off. He's lost most of the people who helped him win. People like Joe Rogan, people like Ted Cruz, people who were prominent voices. Now, Ted Cruz maybe didn't like him that much at first. I'll give him that. He's losing the essential people who put him in this position because of this. You're going to lose more. If you don't adapt, you're going to lose more. I'm telling you. And I'm not telling you this as a Democrat or a Republican. I'm telling you this as a human being with two eyeballs looking at the situation. You're going to lose everything if you don't stop. Now, it doesn't mean that we need to stop preventing illegals from coming in. I don't want illegals in America. But I'm talking about criminals. I'm talking about people who are a risk. Close the borders. Shut them down. I think what's been done at the southern border is phenomenal. I think Tom Homan at the southern border, shutting that down is great. Look, we got to look at both sides of it. People coming into the country illegally is a serious danger, not only for the citizens, it's also a danger for the people coming in. People die usually before they even make it to America. There's sexual assault. There's murder. people suffocate in the back of those vans is a horrible picture, what happens with illegal immigration. Anybody who supports illegal immigration is a dumbass. Let's make that very clear. If you support illegal immigration, you're an idiot. Now, at that same token, though, we need to be intellectually honest and admit that maybe this isn't working out the way that we thought it would. I think Trump had something to say about this. Let's see what we got. Trump was speaking today. Trump interrupted by protesters.
But I've made new fair trade deals with countries covering half of all U.S. trade. You do know they're paid agitators, right? They're paid. They get paid. You know, do you ever see their signs? You know, we used to have protests and you'd have guys making a sign in a basement. These are all paid agitators. That's all they are. They get paid to go and they don't even know what, when they interview.
See, the idiots in my chat don't even get paid. They're probably unemployed agitating. Guys, at least get paid if you're going to be an agitator. You guys are broke.
When they interview them, why are you here? I don't know. They have no idea. They're paid insurrectionists, really, in some cases. They're sickos. But I
wish my agitators could get paid. Maybe they'd have, you know, less time on their hands. Let's see what Trump had to say. I feel like it's getting to Trump, too, though. He knows it's wrong. Look, Trump knows when he's popular and when he's not popular. So, ultimately, I feel like when you see him kind of acting shaky, that's kind of when you know it's getting to him a little bit. By the way, that coat is fucking cold. I don't know who's been dressing Trump. Stylist needs a raise. Bro looks cold as fuck, dude.
Mr. President, I have had a great conversation with the highly respected president of Syria and all of the things having to do with Syria and that area. I see it myself. And we have a lot of very positive news.
Mr. President, do you believe that Alex Putty's death was justified?
Well, you know, we're doing a big investigation. I want to see the investigation. I'm going to be watching over it. I want a very honorable and honest investigation. I have to see it myself.
Is Kristi Noem going to step down?
No.
The president of Venezuela said that she has not taking orders from you.
Do these idiots not have microphones? Like, why does it sound so bad?
$1.99. Groceries are
Sounds
going
terrible.
down.
Get some proper gear if you're going to interview the president, dude. Oh, here we go. Trump addresses Renee Good and Alex Peretti shootings. He's got blood on his hands, man. Like, he's going to have to fix this up quick. And that's why, look, we saw that Greg Bonvino was actually moved out of Minneapolis. That's a pretty telling sign. You know, I find it funny that even while Trump is backpedaling on this, his supporters are still trying to say he's right. Trump himself is realizing there needs to be adjustments made here. Trump himself is changing the way ICE is operating. And I would be willing to bet, chat, that within a week, we're going to see major reform in the way ICE is actually going about this because Trump wants to be popular. The thing about Trump is he doesn't give a shit about anything about, really much other than how popular he thinks he is. So he might want the border cleaned up. He might want illegals out of the country. What he cares about more is his ego. So if he's seeing massive dissent against him because of this, because of Greg Bonvino, because of, any of these other people working for him, he's going to get rid of them so fast their head's going to spin because now they're making him look bad. He cares more about how he looks and his ego than anything else. That's why I predict massive reform in ICE coming up 100%. What do you guys think?
Welcome back to the Will Cain Show, live from Iowa, and now we're here. We're here with President Donald J. Trump. Mr. President, great to see you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for doing this.
Well, you know, you do have great ratings.
Well, thank you.
We check the ratings, but even if you had lousy ratings, I would do your show. You are terrific.
Thank
You've been
you.
a terrific guy.
I anticipate they should do very well today with this type of guest today here on the Will Cain Show. Welcome back to the campaign trail. Welcome back to Iowa. How does it feel?
Well, I love Iowa.
Carl, I'm not a bot. I'm AI, Carl. Get it right.
Won it 3 times.
I'm an AI figment of your imagination, and I'm coming to get you.
It was conclusively. There wasn't like any late night voting or anything. We
The
just
big scary live streamer.
won it right at the beginning. The doors closed and they said Trump won. And I love the people. You know, I just get along with the people.
I was watching the other room. You look back in your element. You're back with the people. What do you like better? Do you like this, standing on the stage at a rally, or do you like making a deal, maybe for Greenland?
I think I like maybe the rallies better. Deals are fun, but we're making a lot of good deals. We've made some psychological factor out there.
What do you think that
but
is?
I think it's like 2 in more than 50 years.
Bro, can they just get to the part?
Maybe
Can they just get to the part where he talks about it? I don't want to sit through this whole thing.
There's been talk of impeachment. You've been through this before.
Yeah.
You've been through it.
See of Sleepy Joe Biden. It was
Sleepy Joe Biden, the worst president of all time. Terrible, quite frankly. Frankly, he was terrible, frankly.
That was not a good policy, Will.
I want to come back to Minnesota in just one moment, but let's go to those guardrails. I'd imagine you do not feel like you need guardrails in this moment. You talk about the investment.
No, I don't need guardrails. I don't want guardrails. Guardrails would hurt us because, you know, we're free enterprise people. The people in this room, the people of Iowa are free enterprise. That's why we want it so big.
Hey, bro, if you're going to beg for attention in the chat, at least say please, bro. Begging for attention, say please.
3 times
Just
in a
say
row.
please, bro.
I would have to
I might
imagine-
give you some attention if you say please.
Imagine that guardrails would be an understatement of what would happen should you lose the House or the Senate. There's been talk of impeachment. You've been through this before.
Yeah.
You've been through it multiple times.
I'm a professional.
What will happen? What will happen if Democrats take
They'll
the House or the
probably
Senate?
try and impeach me. They'll say he went to Iowa and he spoke unfairly to people and he's not supposed to do that. Let's impeach him, okay? And the people in Iowa would say, how did he get impeached? He just did an interview with Will, who has very good ratings, okay? But they just did an interview with Will. Now, they'll find something. They'll be.
Bro, it doesn't even matter if he gets impeached, dude. That's the thing with Trump. You can't take him out. You're just going to have to maneuver with him based on what he's doing. They impeached him already. It didn't even work. It makes no difference.
Something, I made the wrong turn at an exit and let's impeach him. No, they did that before. They impeached me on a perfect phone call. Turned out they impeached me twice. And by the way, I won the impeachments very easily and quickly. But they impeached. They're
the greatest impeachment.
Very nasty people. You know, they have bad policy, really bad, but they do 2 things. They stick together. Not stupid. Some are, because, you know, that's true with everything, right? But they stick together, but they have really bad policy. Men and women's sports, transgender for everybody. So many things are so bad. I mean, they're horrible to the farmers. And by the way, I just gave the farmers $12 billion because they were treated unfairly. We're taking in a fortune with tariffs. And I wrote them a little check about 2 weeks ago for $12 billion. Anybody in this room get any of it yet? Yes, yeah. A lot of people.
Look at these poor schmucks in the background. Why is he doing an interview in a diner?
It's a lot of money. And you know what? You deserved it. But we're taking in so much money from the tariffs that we can do that.
I want to talk about the point of view from some of these farmers, some of these people in this room a little bit later, but now I want to take you up on your invitation to talk about Minnesota. Listen, the entire country is talking about what happened this past weekend in Minnesota. You've already spoken about it. Everyone watching has seen the video. Everyone has an opinion. I'm curious what you thought when you first saw that video.
Well, I think the whole thing is terrible. I don't like the fact that he was carrying a gun that was fully loaded and he had 2 magazines with him. And
I thought this was the United States of America, dude. Donald Trump is against guns now, apparently. Wild. Whatever suits him in the moment, I guess.
It's pretty unusual, but nobody knows when they saw the gun, how they saw the gun, everything else. Bottom line, it was terrible. Both of them were terrible. The other was terrible, too. And I'm not sure about his parents, but I know her parents were big Trump fans. Makes me feel bad anyway. But, I mean, I guess you could say even worse. They were tremendous Trump people, Trump fans. And
Can you imagine if you voted for Trump and then his ICE people killed your daughter? Damn, dude. I can't lie. That's an L of historic proportions, dude. You vote for a guy and his fucking gang members kill her. That's crazy. That's the only reason he cares, by the way. I'm sad because they were Trump fans.
Nobody knows when they saw the gun, how they saw the gun, everything else. Bottom line, it was terrible. Both of them were terrible. The other was terrible, too. And I'm not sure about his parents, but I know her parents were big Trump fans. Makes me feel bad anyway. But, I mean, I guess you could say even worse.
If they were Biden fans, he'd be like, fuck her.
Tremendous Trump people, Trump fans. And, you know, the daughter was, she was, I don't know if you could say radicalized, maybe not. I don't know. But I hate to see it. I hate to see that.
You bring up the term radicalized. What do you think is happening? You see these people in these videos, they feel very emboldened to step in and interfere with law enforcement.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about protest, holding signs. I'm talking about people physically interfering with immigration enforcement. Why? Why do they feel so emboldened?
You know, you have to go throughout the whole country. You know, we have done so much work throughout the whole country. We don't have any problem. The only one we have is Minnesota. We're in a lot of different places. New Orleans, we're in the governor of Louisiana called they have a big problem in New Orleans. And we went there. We've cut the crime by 67% in 4 weeks. It'll be down to practically nothing soon.
That's the one thing I got to give him credit for, by the way. When you look at the crime rates around the country, crime rates are dropping drastically. Murder rates, robberies, sexual assaults dropping drastically. I got to give a lot of credit to Trump for that. And again, that's because I'm a rational human being. This is why the political cult people, like the people in my chat who are in a cult, yes, all hail President Trump, all hail my Lord Trump. You guys are fucking retards because you can't say when he does something bad or when he does something good. Trump does a lot of good things, does a lot of bad things. If you were not so fucking retarded that you could admit that, maybe we could have a conversation. But no, it's either all or nothing with you people because it's a cult.
Washington, D.C., we don't have problems. Like, you know,
Right.
we've cut it down from a lot. It was very bad. It was terrible. People go to Washington to look at the Lincoln Monument and they end up getting whacked or whatever, killed in some cases. Numerous killings. That's a beautiful, safe place now. Memphis, Tennessee, one of the worst in the whole country, and now it's got very little crime.
But it's gone very differently in Minneapolis.
Well, it has. It's the only place.
And now the message is out that Tom Homan is in.
Yeah.
Commander Bovino is supposedly leaving Minneapolis along with some CBP agents. Is this a pullback?
I don't think it's a pullback. It's a little bit of a change. Everybody.
Chat, who was right? I just said there's going to be reform in ICE. Trump said he's making a little bit of a change. So, guys, run me my money. Run me my respect. I just said it. You guys disagreed. He just said he's making changes. And, again, let's pull the clip. The beauty of this is it's all recorded. January 29th, I said it live already, predicted it. We're going to see major changes with ICE. Trump now admitting they're making changes. Run me my respect. Give me my credit.
Has a business.
Right here.
Know, you make little changes. You know, Bovino's very good, but he's a pretty out there kind of a guy. And in some cases, that's good. Maybe it wasn't good here.
Bro said I'm a leftist. I'm not a leftist. See, this is how fucking stupid you people are, dude. I swear, politics rots people's brains. It rots people's brains. You say Trump does something bad, you're a leftist. The second I say Trump does something good, I'm a fringe right-wing Republican. Politics has rotted you people's fucking brains. You're stupid.
You have to understand, when I watch some of the people that I've been watching over the last few weeks, these are paid insurrectionists. These are paid agitators. These people aren't normal, like, OG, that, you know, they're incensed about anything. How do you get incensed when you go into a state and you're taking criminals out? You're taking monsters out, murderers. You know, we had 11,888 murderers let into our country by other countries, by Biden with his open border stupid policy. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You talk about bad policy. Open borders where people were coming, so the whole world, Congo, Venezuela, all over the world, they're letting people in from their prisons and they're feeding them into the United States. And they're murderers and they're drug dealers and they're everything else you can think of, every bad name you can think of. And they let them in by the millions. We closed the border. You know, we have nobody coming into our country anymore. Literally.
It just shows how hard it is to clean up, even after you close it. It shows.
Well, yeah, nobody's coming in, but nobody wants to come in, dude. Not even people who can come into America want to come in. But I will still give Trump credit where it's due. Like I've said it earlier, I'll say it again. What they've done on the southern border is phenomenal. I mean, seriously, like, the fact that they've gotten the crossings down so low, because this has been one of the most consistent issues with all politicians, and it's been something they've combated with all the presidents in years in the past. I mean, it was a huge issue under Obama, huge issue under Bush, huge issue under everybody, under Biden. And Biden made it 100 times worse. I mean, you know, if Biden wouldn't have made it so much worse, we actually probably wouldn't be in the place we are today. You know, Biden made it so much worse, repealing a lot of the stuff that actually happened under Trump to make it better for the border. A lot of stuff that was working to improve the border crisis, Biden took it away just because he doesn't like Trump. This is why I say the political sickness rots people's brains. It literally makes you a low IQ human being. Biden literally took things away that were working just because it had Trump's name on it. I swear, politics drops your IQ.
The price that we paid under Joe Biden.
It's the hardest thing when you think of it. You know, inflation we've solved. It's done. We have it good where prices are coming way down. They were just saying in Iowa, the fuel is $1.95. Did you hear that? Somebody said $1.85, but it was $3.50, $4.50 just a year and a half ago. You look at eggs, you look at groceries, it's all down. Everything's come down. Do you notice they don't mention affordability anymore? That's like an old-fashioned word. They brought up affordability, but they were the ones that caused it. I didn't cause it. I came in, prices were way too high. We had the highest inflation in the history of our country. 48 years, they say. I say the history. But we had the highest, let's say in 48 years, the highest inflation. Prices were way high. Now I've got the prices down, and they're going down still further. But think of it. We brought fuel from $4, $3.50, $3.75 down to $1.99, $1.08. I was just told in Iowa $1.85.
Yeah.
A gallon.
No doubt. No doubt. But that leaves that problem, like you said, the hardest one to solve. People say they want our immigration laws
The hardest
enforced.
one to solve is.
Do you know, I remember a conversation that you and I had a year and a half ago with your Secretary of War, our friend Rachel Campos Duffy, and you said to me, you looked at me and said, it's going to be difficult when the New York Times runs a picture of a little kid being taken away from their mother. It's going to be difficult. And by the way, that basically happened to you a week ago. It was propaganda and it was false about a 5-year-old.
By the way, it was a totally false story
totally
about the
fake
5-year-old.
story.
Yeah,
But you're now dealing with the difficulty of the propaganda in the face of enforcing.
And that's got to stop too, by the way. All this bullshit propaganda just makes everything worse. And I've said it before, even with people who hate Trump. The worst thing you can say about Trump when he's done 2 bad things is that he did 3 bad things. Because when you start making lies up about what's actually happening, it emboldens the other side. People don't need to make up things about ICE. Just report it accurately. If they're doing something wrong, report it. If they're doing good, report it. You don't got to make up stories about a 5-year-old and all this stuff. It's completely unnecessary, and it actually hurts the cause of whoever's trying to perpetuate that. If you're anti-ICE and you're making up stories and you get caught, you're actually just going to create more people who support ICE. So that's not a tactic that works.
We take out drug dealers. We take out a whole group of people by the thousands. And if we get one person a little bit wrong, headlines. But they don't talk about all the tremendous, you know, the reason that we have Minnesota crime down. I talk about that because it's only down for one reason. We took out so many criminals. But other states are way down. So the report came out there. Think of it. In the history of this country, we have the lowest number of murders. We have the lowest crime, the best crime numbers. That's despite the fact that
W. Trump.
Millions, I say 25 million people, millions of people were let in through the border by Biden. And many of those people were not people you want to have in the country.
So what's going to change? You put in Tom Homan. Have you spoken today to Tom Homan?
Well, yeah, I have. Tom is fantastic. Tom is a tough guy, but I've watched over the years, and he's gotten along with governors and he gets along with mayors. Some people don't. Some people just want to do their job and leave me alone. And that's sort of okay, too. That's generally been okay. Most of them are happy.
Chat, should we get Tom Homan on the show or what? Live interview?
Memphis.
We got some very interesting people coming on in the next couple of days to talk about this situation. It's not going to be just me. You guys want to hear from people on the ground? We will. People in government? We will. Maybe we should I email ICE right now? Let's go. Let's get Tom Homan.
Tennessee, very tough, very straight.
I've had a lot bigger celebrities than Tom Homan, trust me.
We're taking the criminal out. We're getting them out, either putting them in jail, because some are so bad that you don't want to send them to where they came from because you're afraid they're going to come back. They're murderers. So some are very down and straight, and others, Tom, I've noticed, as tough as he is, he gets along very good with governors and mayors. Now, I spoke to the mayor and to the governor yesterday. And they want to see it cleared up.
I'm so fascinated by your conversation with Governor Tim Walz. This man has suggested that this is a modern-day Gettysburg. He has likened his situation to Anne Frank in the Holocaust. He is...
All right, let's not get ridiculous now, dude. When you bring everything back to that, it gets a little silly. I mean, I think the Gestapo comparisons in certain instances make sense. But let's not get carried away with the Anne Frank stuff.
Said that ICE is your Gestapo army, and then you guys speak on the phone. I'm fascinated by that conversation.
It couldn't have been a nicer conversation. And in fact, I said to my people, I said, it's hard to believe that's the same guy I watch on television, or I watch in a debate not doing so well, or because we had a very reasonable conversation, very good conversation. If you believe the conversation, he'd like to get this thing over with. But think of it, in the whole country, we've done this so much. We have the crime down to a level that nobody ever, I campaigned a little bit on crime, a lot on the border. The problem is I gave you the best border in the history of our country.
Yeah, the Anne Frank stuff is stupid. But, like, here's the thing, though. People who get mad at them saying it's Gestapo, what's with the outfits, though? That's the thing. Like, this is where I get confused. Like, if you don't want to be called the Gestapo, why are you dressed up like this, dude? Like, literally, it doesn't help. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't want to be called a Nazi, maybe don't take pictures like this. And you might not get called it as much. If you're gonna be outraged about being called that, what's with the photo shoots like this, though? It doesn't necessarily help your case.
Nobody wants to talk about it anymore. I did it a long time ago. I was able to do it within 3 months of taking office. I had that border locked and closed, and nobody even tries to come up anymore. It's easy now. Nobody even tries to come up. Before they were coming up by the millions, but nobody wants to talk about that. They only want to talk about whatever the last thing is. But we're taking out thousands and thousands of criminals. And the worst thing that Biden did to this country, because again, inflation I can solve, all this stuff. The hardest thing to solve is when you have people brought into the country and you have to take those people. We have a very unfriendly court system, frankly, especially at the lower levels. Take those people and you have to say, I'm sorry, but you're going out. And in many cases, they're murderers. And, they shoot you. They kill you. You've seen that, where they kill you. You're after a murderer. Sir, you're going to have to come with me, and they end up shooting you. It's a very tough job that they have.
I know you addressed this morning. You talked about the incredible success, and it is an incredible success at the southern border. But you were asked, with the shift in Minneapolis and Tom Homan going to Minnesota, do you still have confidence in DHS Secretary Kristi Noem? You brought up the success at the border.
Look,
you do.
She was there.
Yeah, I agree with the chat. Like, the damage that guy, Gregory Bonvino, has done, I think has been crazy for ICE and Trump. And that's exactly why he's been demoted. He's done a lot of damage with the imagery. He's throwing his hand up in suggestive ways. He's wearing the coats. He's throwing tear gas at people. First of all, he got caught lying under oath like 5 times. This dude literally lied about throwing tear gas. He lied about confronting protesters. So he's just not an honorable, reputable guy. When I look at a guy like Tom Homan versus the Bonvino dude, Tom Homan is at least somewhat respectable. He has a past. He has a resume that's respectable to a degree, even though I may not agree with the way that ICE is actually carrying this out. But, I mean, this other dude, he's done irreparable damage to this entire ICE movement. And only in a very short period of time, too. It's gone really far.
With the border. Who closed up the border? She did, with Tom Homan, with the whole group. I mean, they closed up the border. The border is a tremendous success, one of the most secure borders in the entire world. We were a laughingstock 1.5 years ago for the whole world. The whole world laughed at us. I had friends that said, is that real? They'd look at a picture. You've been down to the border. They'd look at a picture of the border with hundreds of thousands of people pouring in like it was water. And they said, is that really taken? They can't believe it. They think it's one of these crazy movies that they make. The border was horrible. It was horrible. I did the border twice. First time I won, 2016, I won on the border. But that border was nothing, and I fixed it immediately. It was great. We had great years, and we had a great economy. We had the best economy in history in 2016, my first term. And we rebuilt the military, and we got the largest regulation cuts. We had the best job number. We had a great first term. This term seems to be blowing it away. I mean, the only thing we have is a Minnesota situation. And that is, I believe, easily resolved.
Okay. By the way, if I lived in Minnesota, dude, I would leave. I got to applaud the people who are still standing up for their homes in Minneapolis and throughout Minnesota, because that place is a nightmare, dude. Year after year. I think that's probably the worst place to live in America. I mean, my Americans in the chat could probably speak more to this, but that place is a goddamn nightmare to live in. really bad.
You're about to take the stage here in Iowa. I imagine you're going to talk about the economy.
Yeah.
I'm curious what your plan is if the Supreme Court rules negatively on your tariffs. You talk about the tariffs
We'll have to find another way. Look,
is there a plan B?
Yeah, the tariffs have been indispensable towards success. We've taken in $600 billion in tariffs. I gave the farmers $12 billion last week.
W. Trump. I wish I had my sound effects. W. Trump. Listen, that's the thing. If anybody's against that, you're an idiot. I don't care how much of a liberal you are. If you say it's bad to give $12 billion to farmers, you're a dummy.
I took them out of tariff money. It's kept the unfair competition out of our country. Now, they can build their auto plant here, but they can't build a plant in some place with, labor costs for a penny and then sell it into this country and then charge people a lot of money for a car. So the only way they can do that, they have to build the plants here. So the big auto companies from Germany, from Mexico, from Canada, Mexico and Canada are literally, their plants are closing down. They're moving into this country. So we have more activity than we've ever had. We have thousands of businesses all over the country being built. We have hundreds of big major factories between
Daniel, to be frank, dude, I appreciate you watching, but look, if I cared if people liked me or not, I wouldn't even be doing this, dude. I frankly couldn't give a fuck who likes me and who doesn't like me. Maybe I get it from Trump. I can take the heat, guys. If I couldn't, I wouldn't be up here.
Yeah, autos.
I can take. That's why I smile when you guys are trying to roast me, because I like having a dialogue. I can take the heat. I'm not a fucking baby.
And many other things being built. We've never had a thing like this.
And you use them as a tool for world peace.
For world peace, yeah. We have to use it for world peace.
But what happens if the Supreme Court strikes down the tariffs?
We will find some other way of doing a similar thing. But it'll be more inconvenient. It won't be as easy.
I was just speaking to some of the diners here today. Right. David Ullman, he's lived in Iowa for a long time. He's in agriculture. He does express concern about the tariffs and the effect it's had on farmers in Iowa.
Well, it's going to be don't forget, they just kicked in. And we've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars. And we've kept a lot of people out that want to come in and rip off for years, it was in the reverse. China would charge us tariffs. Other countries would charge us tariffs. I've totally reversed it. Japan gave us $550 billion. South Korea is supposed to give us $350 billion. But what happens is they're coming in, they're building plants, they don't have to pay tariffs. If they don't do that, so what's happening is we're getting a tremendous amount of business coming to this country, and they're coming in fast and sharp. I think the farmers...
Hey, shout out Double A, man. I appreciate that. Thank you for recognizing the grind, dude. It is 4 in the morning right now, guys. So if you guys respect the grind, smash that like, smash that sub. I'm up all night for you guys.
Going to be the biggest beneficiary, because when you used to have people coming in and dumping their crops into the United States and you guys were hurt, they're not allowed to do that because we're tariffing those crops.
Just a couple of more questions.
I think the farmers, in a way, and it's going to take a little while to kick in, and the farmers stuck with me the first time, and I was right, with China, when China did a little bit of a number. We gave you $28 billion then, because it was a help because they were taken advantage of for years. We gave them 28. Now we gave them 12, sort of a minimal payment, $12 billion for the farmers. Nobody else would be able to do that. Nobody else would even think of doing that. But the tariffs are going to be phenomenal for the farmers, but they just kicked in.
I just see some nods here as you're talking.
W Trump, W farmers, let's go. I support the farmers all day, dude. Anybody who doesn't support the farmers, you got a problem with me, understand me? So listen, guys, it's been a fun stream again. Anybody who thinks I can't take the heat, I know I look like a young guy. I know I look like maybe... Trust me, I've been doing this for too long. I don't give a fuck. I have so much fun doing this, guys. And honestly, every time I come to the computer, I'm so excited to come and talk with you guys because I want to hear what people have to say. I want to have an open dialogue. I literally get so much enjoyment from hearing what you guys have to say and breaking this down. One person says I'm right. One person says I'm wrong. That's the spirit of open dialogue. That's what makes, the country of America great, and that's why I'm passionate about it, because when I see the First Amendment slipping away, when I see rights slipping away, I don't want to see that. I want to keep open dialogue. I want to keep things great, and I want to keep it so that we can go back and forth like this. That's what makes it great. So let's hang on to this, guys. Every time we do these streams, and I always say this channel, these live streams, is an opposition to mainstream media. This is a space to literally cuck the mainstream media. Half of these streams, by the way, do bigger numbers than mainstream media if you actually look at it. And this is an opposition. This is a big fuck you to all those big corporations, all those organizations who can't take the heat. They sit in an echo chamber with people who only agree with them. I will never play by those rules. I play by my own rules. This is the rules of the people. And really, whether you agree with what I say or not, this is still us versus them. This is still us versus big business. This is still us versus big media. They're never going to silence our voices. They're never going to silence me. One thing about me, as long as I'm physically abled and drawing breath, I will come to this microphone, I will say my piece, and I will read what you guys have to say about it. So I appreciate you guys for being here. Absolutely. If you think I'm full of shit, call me out, dude. That's what the internet is for, my guy. That's what the internet is for, dude. If I didn't want your comments, I'd shut the comments off. So let me know what you guys thought down below. We covered a lot tonight. It's already been 2 hours. Holy shit. I didn't even think that. Yeah, so listen, I appreciate you guys. Make sure to come tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to do a little bit more of a entertainment stream. I want to react to like some music. Megadeth dropped some new stuff. I think tonight has been too supercharged to pivot over to entertainment. I feel like we need to just let this be a moment in time. Let it be what it was. I appreciate you guys for being here. Come join me tomorrow. Sending big, big love. Stay safe out there.